Hi, welcome to the Blue Room. I am Matsukawa. I am the head and only engineer of the Blue Room. I started this home recording essential series to give people the resources and the education, to keep creating and keep recording at a high quality despite not being able to get into like a real studio at this given moment. It sucks and it's kind of fucking up a lot of people's workflows, but I figured it's best to use this opportunity to learn some things and to sharpen up skills that we may or may not even have developed yet. Today we're focusing on the more like bare bones things, and some of you guys might know this information already, but let's talk about what we need for home recording. I guess it all depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to record vocals over a beat, or if you're trying to record different instruments, but I'm gonna just assume that we're gonna go with the very basics, and let's just break it down to vocals and like line in DI instruments. So what do we need? Well, obviously for recording vocals, we're gonna need one of these. We're gonna need a microphone, we need an XLR cable, and we're gonna need an interface. I picked up this interface recently, made by SSL. I have not used this at all yet. I wanted an interface outside of the studio to be able to take with me, or even just like jam out and shit inside the house. And this is a very solid interface by a very solid company. I don't know if you guys are familiar with SSL, but they make very incredible products in professional recording studios, mic pre's, compressors, and there's a lot of software emulation plugins for SSL. So let's talk about the features on the interfaces, right? I think the most important thing that gets overlooked in a lot of people's music is trying to get a good recording. I think a lot of us as artists and producers try to get ideas out as fast as possible, which I understand. That's part of the process, and it's very important to get your ideas out instantly, especially when you feel them immediately. But I think being intentional about how you record things is very important, and it will pay off in the long run, because you can't always fix things in the mix, unfortunately. So let's get into it. I got my rig set up over here. I got a side rig, like a home recording setup. So just a laptop. I have my external hard drive plugged in so I can record into it. And I have my interface. Pretty standard looking. We have two mic pre's. We have two channels here, channel 1, channel 2. We can engage 48 volts for phantom power, which is mainly for condenser microphones. We have a line input. We also have DI capabilities for instruments. So from what I understand about this interface, to engage the DI, I have to hit the high Z button and the line button. So that's if I'm going to use, I'm going to plug in a guitar into here. This interface also features a 4K switch, which is apparently, it's kind of vague, I guess as far as the description goes, but it's supposed to add some harmonic color and add some top end, add some highs in the frequency range for whatever signal's passing through it. Well, I'm gonna open up Ableton, since the kids love Ableton nowadays. Might as well. I still have 9, haha, whatever. But let's get into it. All right, so what do we need to do? So let's say we're recording vocals, right? And we just want to lay a vocal recording down. We can set up, Ableton already sets up 2 MIDI tracks and 2 audio tracks. I don't need the MIDI tracks right now, so I'll get rid of those. And let's say I want to plug in a microphone, right? So what do I have to do? I have to grab my microphone, which in this case will be the SM58 right here. And I'm going to take an XLR cable and plug it in to the interface. All right, now that I have the XLR cable, I'll plug it in. Plug one into the microphone, pretty standard, right? And then I'll plug the other end into the interface. And this is channel 1. Plug it right in. Cool. So now I'm gonna check if I have signal. I'm gonna pat my microphone. Typical way to test without having to go too crazy or yell into your microphone. You can give your microphone a scratch. So what I'm gonna do, give it a scratch test. Just scratch the top of the microphone. Boost my signal up for my mic pre. Okay, cool. So we're good. So I'm getting signal, right? So I guess a good engineering concept to understand is that you want to meter before you monitor, right? So before you have your speakers on and it's blasting, I don't know if any of you guys have had this issue. I'm sure you guys encountered this at some point, but let's say you turn on your microphone, you had your speakers all the way up, and you got feedback, and this shit sucked. It fucking hurt your ears, and you wanted to turn the shit off as much as possible, as quickly as possible. And yeah, it's never a good feeling, right? To get that ear-piercing fucking screech into your ears. So it's always important to make sure you're getting signal first before you decide to go blast the fucking speakers, okay? So now that we have that set up, right? If everything is set up correctly here, let's double check our input device is correct. Let's go audio in, SSL2, which is my interface. Okay, should be good. SSL out, got it. All right, so now this should be my vocal track, right? So let's just call this Vox 1, right? Okay, so since I plugged my microphone into the first input, you can already see that there's some levels, you know, some metering going on over there. So we should be pretty good to go. I'm gonna turn my mic pre down again, and then I'm going to hit auto, and I'm going to hit the record enable button, Enableton, and then I'm going to start testing my voice. So I'm going to go check, 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 cool. So let's pretend I'm singing, right? And this is like, I guess the medium volume I'm going to go, right? You can always check really loud if you really want to make sure that you're not going to clip in your recording, or you can talk really quiet and then also check that. Cool. So the key for setting up your mic pre, I feel like this is a part that gets overlooked with a lot of engineers and producers even, and artists, is that you want to be able to check this meter, and also the meter on your screen, right? I think the meter on your screen is actually the more important one to look at. The thing about Ableton is kind of vague as far as like what number you're hitting on your meter. You could pull up a plugin to kind of help you out with that, but most DAWs, digital audio workstations, come with some form of metering capabilities already. So as you can see, in decibels on my input, I'm hitting around 22, 21 right now. If I get really loud, I can hit up to like -12. So I'm in a pretty good spot. For me, I try to hit around no louder than like -9 decibels. That should be like my peak, honestly. If I start getting into like -6, -5, I'm starting to get into dangerous territory. I don't want to get too low, because if I get too low, I'm not capturing the most out of my recording. So it's really important to set your mic pre in a healthy level. I often see too many people have their shit all the way down, and then they try to make their shit loud. They like boost the fader and like try to slap plugins on, slap the gain all the way up, and do all that. You're doing a job that you're trying to do a job with so many different things that you should have just done from the very jump, and you would have got a much cleaner recording. This is a mic pre. This is what it's designed to do. It's designed to boost your signal up to a healthy level for you to record with and be able to capture with your computer and your interface, so that way you don't have to do all that hard work for no reason and still have your recording sound like shit. All right, so let's say I want to lay something down, right? So I got my level, right? Test, 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 test. Cool. I'm at a solid level. I'm gonna record, right? So I got auto set up. I got my record enabled, and looks like I'm good to go. So I can gotta count in, so I can test, record. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, da 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 da, blah blah blah. Okay, cool. Got my recording. Let's say I stop, right? Should be good to go. Hello everybody, thank you for watching this week's episode of Home Recording Essentials. Hope everybody's staying safe, staying healthy, staying positive during this crazy quarantine, COVID-19 era of our lives. If you like what you see, feel free to leave a comment, hit like, subscribe, hit the little bell notification button. Next week, we'll for sure have an episode about setting up a recording template and giving your songs a rough mix so they don't sound like shit when you go play them in the car. So, till next time.